Good day, everyone. Welcome to Real Conservative Headline News. I'm your host, Nathaniel Rajkumar. Starting off locally here in Trinidad and Tobago. Prime Minister Persad-Bissessar, the new tyrant Cams, who took over for Emperor Thanos Rowley, says the government will move to engage Nestlé officials following the multinational company announcing this week that it is reviewing its operations in Trinidad and Tobago as part of a wider global restructuring. I was really saddened when I heard this. I don't think they are leaving completely, but I mean, I grew up on those drinks. It just reminds me of my childhood, and everything I'm just seeing just falling apart now. Just leaving Trinidad was part of my childhood in the 80s and the 90s. It's sad. It really is sad, though, what Trinidad is becoming, and yet it was supposed to revive under the UNC. I was really hoping and believed it would have. Still waiting for Petro-Trin to reopen. Over a year later and still waiting. And maybe we might have to continue waiting for a long time to come. Responding to questions from Guardian Media yesterday, or day before yesterday, the Prime Minister confirmed she has instructed the relevant minister to intervene. That's good news, though, people. Don't get me wrong. I hope that they can convince them not to do what they were planning to do, which was shut down major parts of the company. I have asked the Minister of Trade and Acting Minister of Foreign Affairs to meet with Nestlé's representatives to work on this matter, Persad-Bissessar said. Also responding to questions, Minister of Finance, Devanjanath Tanku. That man is so evil, so evil. My Lord, God will deal with you, my brother. God will deal with you. But anyhow, also responding to questions, Minister of Finance, Devanjanath Tanku, also sought to reassure stakeholders, noting that while the company's review is a commercial decision, the government is closely monitoring the potential implications for the local economy. Thing is about it, thus far, every intervention you all have made has flopped, has failed. Will this one end up succeeding? I hope, but my goodness. Nestlé is reviewing its global operations, at least most, I shouldn't say all. UNC fanatics will come online and say, why, but it had this and that, and that. All right. Not all, right? Most. Nestlé is reviewing its global operations as a result of reprioritization of its business model. Come now, man. So, all they just want to continue making money now. I don't want to judge them. Maybe they really started to make significant losses, or maybe not just losses yet, maybe not losses yet, but their profit was significantly declining, and they realized, wait, at some point in time, we're going to start to make losses. The thing about it is, they are much cheaper products, that the quality is around the same thing as Nestlé. You can't beat back a Nestlé flavor, though. That's the thing about it. But still, the products are quite expensive, man. Those things were so cheap long time, Nestlé will, so let me read over that part. So Nestlé is reviewing its global operations as a result of a reprioritization of its business model as a company involved in TNT with a particular role in the domestic dairy industry, those activities of interest to the state. Nestlé will continue to do what it considers best for its owners, though, because all they care about is the profit at the end of the day, people. They don't really care about the legacy. I just don't understand it. But still, in the meantime, we will continue to monitor the development and engage in scenario planning to ensure that we can respond appropriately so that the agricultural sector in particular is not adversely affected. Yeah, okay, you can imagine the amount of farmers will be adversely affected by this, because this is a huge company in Trinidad. Their comments come a day after Nestlé informed employees that it has begun a strategic review of its TNT operations, including exploring the possible sale of its dairy and juices business. But as I said before, sadly, people, what we know is happening is that the economy continues to collapse. Now, it was destroyed by the PNM. Don't get me wrong. Now, the PNM hypocrites will come out and say, oh, is Kamala and them not destroying the economy? They haven't been successful in reviving it, but it's not they that destroyed it. They inherited a completely utterly destroyed economy, people. Rowley, the PNM destroyed it, especially because of those prolonged lockdowns. Was over 2 years that the country was locked down for, people. What do you expect to happen when you take such drastic, draconian measures? More than 200 workers are employed at the company's manufacturing facility along the Churchill-Roosevelt Highway in Valsain. So, them people going home. More unemployment again. The announcement was made during a meeting with employees on Thursday, led by head of Central America, Pablo Weichers, who traveled from Panama. Responding to Guardian Media's inquiries, Nestlé TNT's head of communications, C.T. Jones Gordon, stressed that the review remains in its early stages and that no final decisions have been taken. Please, if you can, don't do that. Don't close down. At least, as I said before, I don't think they close down everything, but a major part of it. She explained that the exercise forms part of the company's new global strategy, which places great emphasis on nutrition, food, coffee, pet care, and confectionery, while reducing focus on other areas of its portfolio. Or they're just going to work. That's the whole problem. Jones Gordon said the company is also assessing a third-party distribution model in Trinidad and Tobago, adding that its objective throughout the review is to preserve jobs where possible, protect well-known local brands, and maintain continuity across the value chain. She maintained that Nestlé remains committed to maintaining a strong presence in Trinidad and Tobago and the wider Caribbean, and will provide further updates once decisions are made. So it doesn't even look as though it's just about profitability. They're just focusing on different types of products now. They're real kind of, Lord Father, boy. I tell you, everybody they don't care about legacy. They don't care about anything again in this world, It's sad. It really is sad.
Trinidad and Tobago weather report Sunday, July 5, 2026. The weather forecast for Trinidad and Tobago on Sunday, July 5, 2026 will be generally sunny, hazy, and at times breezy with a maximum temperature of 33 degrees Celsius. According to the official outlook from the Trinidad and Tobago Meteorological Service, the daytime will experience fair conditions overall, occasionally interrupted by isolated showers. The night is expected to remain fair but hazy with a light breeze, though isolated showers may develop closer to midnight. A moderate concentration of Saharan dust will be present in the atmosphere throughout the day and night. Individuals who are sensitive to changes in air quality are strongly advised by the Met Office to take all necessary protective precautions. For fishers and sea bathers, marine conditions remain moderate. Open waters wave heights are forecasted between 1.5 meters to 2.0 meters. Sheltered areas wave heights will remain near 1.0 meter. Swell northerly to easterly swells will range from 0.5 meters to 1.0 meter with a swell period of 7 to 10 seconds.
International news now. Israel joined a wave of international tributes to the United States on Saturday as America marked 250 years since the signing of the Declaration of Independence, hailing the country's place in the world as the close bond between the two allies. America, one of the greatest, not just one of, the greatest nation on earth right now. And Israel, America's greatest ally, who's being thrown under the bus by the Trump administration. Really sad what we're seeing. The Democrats are much worse, so don't get me wrong. I still hope that people will make the right decision and vote for the Republicans in November, God's willing. Because if you think things bad right now, it's going to be a whole lot worse. The Democrats take back power in both the House and the Senate. 250 years of freedom, 250 years of leadership, 250 years of inspiring the world. Israel's foreign ministry wrote on X, "Happy Independence Day from your friends in Israel." Israel really trying hard to maintain a close relationship with America, even though Trump is flying in their face that I am your Messiah, I am your king, I am your God. I'm the one who can give you the green light to attack and defend your nation, and I'm the one that can tell you, don't do it, don't. Trump, boy, Trump, God is going to deal with you, though, my dear great leader of America. The message came a day after Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, the modern-day Jehu, spoke by phone with U.S. President Donald Trump, congratulating him on the anniversary and telling him that the United States ensures the freedom of the world. They're used to. Nowadays, it's just games. Nowadays, it's just games because under Trump and even under Biden, they continue to make form very close friendships with communists and terrorists instead of people who are leaders of democracies. But nevertheless, so congratulating him on the anniversary and telling him that the United States ensures the freedom of the world, according to the Prime Minister's office. Netanyahu's office said the two leaders also agreed to meet in the United States in the near future. It's wonderful, you know, but Netanyahu stands strong and show Trump, listen, you cannot bully me into submission. I will protect my country whether you like it or not. World leaders and former presidents also marked the occasion, with Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi congratulating Trump and the American people on behalf of 1.4 billion, not million, no, billion Indians. Modi said the two countries shared more than a strategic partnership, citing democracy, the rule of law, and limitless potential of their people. Yeah, what you do, Modi, I like you as a Prime Minister, but oh God, boy, look at the amount of people still suffering in their country, boy. And voiced hope that the next 250 years would bring America even greater prosperity, peace, and progress. I hoping that Jesus returns within the next 5 to 10 years. You talk about 250 years. Anyhow, he's not a Christian. So he wouldn't have that hope. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky cast the anniversary in wartime terms, thanking the United States for its backing against Russia and saying America's support had shown the power of its spirit, resolve, and technology, from Javelin anti-tank missiles to Patriot air defense systems. You could be, but once again, you are just a puppet, you know, because if America says stop right now, you ought to stop. At least I think so. Maybe you might still stand up for your own people too. I don't want to judge you. May the dreams of free people always triumph over the evil and hatred of those who seek to destroy freedom, Zelensky wrote. French President Emmanuel Macron marked the day more symbolically, posting a photograph of the Statue of Liberty without a caption. The image carried its own diplomatic message. The statue was a gift from France to the United States, dedicated in 1886, and has long stood as one of the best-known symbols of American liberty and French-American friendship. Wonderful, isn't it? Former U.S. President Joe Biden, sleepy Joe Biden, but I continue to pray for him, though. I didn't like a lot of things that he did, but I know he isn't well, and I don't wish death or illness even upon my enemies, so I hope he recovers fully in Jesus' name. And Barack Obama, another president that I don't like at all, he brought wokeness and abomination and evil into America in a way that it did not exist before. It was there all the time, but he brought it in a much greater way. But nevertheless, so the former U.S. presidents Joe Biden and Barack Obama used the anniversary to point to the unfinished work of an American democracy. Yeah, I can understand the imperfections that you raised the other day, Obama, but unfinished work, I know what you want to make America into, you know, a jihadist woke state. You think about this, it doesn't even make sense. Because if you make it into a jihadist state, the things that you promote most of all, which is abomination, will cease to exist even more. Will cease to exist completely. In a very significant way. Sharia law in America, all your alphabet soup friends will have to either flee into the mountains or get out of America. Former U.S. President, whether you read that part already, Biden wrote that 250 years ago, Americans signed a piece of parchment and made a promise no nation had ever made, adding, happy 250th birthday, America. Our story isn't finished. Yeah, we know you also, Biden. You want the radical left agenda to be fully established in America. Hopefully that never happens either. But it was still nice that you wished your country the best in your own weird way. Obama said America remained a constant work in progress. Yeah, because we know your work agenda too. With each generation called to take up the work left by the last. Russian President Vladimir Putin, one of the greatest tyrants of the world and the false messiah of the QAnon far right. They believe he's the leader of the white hats who will restore and reset the banking system in the world and restore righteousness on earth. Something that isn't biblical. And Christians falling for that nonsense, that's what hurts me so much. Christians are supposed to read the Bible and know that it's only Jesus will restore peace on earth. Always talking about it's a time of revival and things are going to come. You all just sit back and watch Trump and Putin. So anyhow, Russian President Vladimir Putin also sent a message to Trump invoking both the American Revolution and the country's shared history as wartime allies. Trying to remind Trump, hey, stay close to me, man. Support me while I try to annex the whole of Ukraine. The signing of the Declaration of Independence was not the only birth of the United States, but an important milestone in world history, Putin said. Yeah. Adding that Russia had supported the North American colonists in the struggle against British rule. Yeah, and yet you trying to annex the whole of Ukraine to rebuild the USSR. You are the British in this case, Putin. You realize that? All right, then. He said Moscow and Washington, as the world's two largest nuclear powers, you're reminding America that you are nuclear power, but special responsibility for global security and stability. My Lord, was that a threat, though? Reminding America that you are nuclear power, I'm talking about now. But anyhow, so that was the best wishes sent by various world leaders around the world to the United States of America on their Independence Day yesterday, July 4th. Once again, happy Independence Day. Well, today is Sunday, but still, America.
Bible quote of the day. Luke 9:28-36. The Transfiguration. Jesus is revealed in glory on the mountain with Moses and Elijah, and the Father declares him his chosen son. Now about 8 days after these sayings he took with him Peter and John and James and went up on the mountain to pray. And as he was praying, the appearance of his face was altered, and his clothing became dazzling white. And behold, 2 men were talking with him, Moses and Elijah, who appeared in glory and spoke of his departure, which he was about to accomplish at Jerusalem. Now Peter and those who were with him were heavy with sleep, but when they became fully awake they saw his glory and the 2 men who stood with him. And as the men were parting from him, Peter said to Jesus, Master, it is good that we are here. Let us make 3 tents, one for you and one for Moses and one for Elijah, not knowing what he said. As he was saying these things, a cloud came and overshadowed them, and they were afraid as they entered the cloud. And a voice came out of the cloud, saying, This is my son, my chosen one, listen to him. And when the voice had spoken, Jesus was found alone. And they kept silent and told no one in those days anything of what they had seen.
Folks, that brings us to the end of today's headline news. Thanks again to everyone who continues to support my content. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Stay blessed and stay safe most of all. In Jesus' name.